Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Let me tell you about the most predictable disaster in baseball right now, and it's happening in slow motion while everyone pretends not to see it coming. We're about to watch Dave Dombrowski do what he does best, sign another big-name free agent to a massive contract that looks terrible from day one and destroys our financial flexibility for years. And the worst part? We're all going to cheer for it initially because we're desperate, and we think one more splash move will fix everything, when in reality it's going to be the final nail in the coffin of this championship window. The names change every winter, but the pattern is always the same, and it's time someone called it out. I don't even know which specific free agent it'll be yet because we're still in December, but I can already tell you exactly how this is going to play out. Dombrowski is going to zero in on whatever big name is available. Maybe it's a starting pitcher, maybe it's an outfielder, maybe it's some 33-year-old slugger coming off a career year. Doesn't matter. What matters is that Dave's going to fall in love with the name recognition, ignore all the warning signs, and hand out a contract that's 2 years too long and $20 million too much. And in 3 years, when that player is declining and unmovable, everyone's going to act shocked, like we couldn't have seen this coming from 1,000 miles away. This is Dave Dombrowski's entire playbook. Sign the big name, make the splash, get the headlines, worry about the consequences later. Except later is now. We're living in the consequences of his previous splashes, and instead of learning from those mistakes, he's about to make them all over again. The Trea Turner contract looks worse every day. The Nick Castellanos extension was questionable when it happened and is a disaster now. Kyle Schwarber's getting paid like a middle-of-the-order force when he's really just a guy who hits home runs and strikes out. And Dave's response to all of this, sign another expensive veteran and hope for the best. Here's what kills me about this predictable cycle. We know exactly what kind of free agent Dombrowski targets, and it's always the wrong profile for where we are as a team. He goes after guys who are past their prime but had one good season, guys whose underlying metrics are screaming regression, guys who are going to command huge contracts based on name recognition rather than actual projected value. And some desperate team with an impatient owner always overpays, and that team is going to be us because Middleton can't help himself and Dombrowski can't change his stripes. Let me paint you a picture of how this winter is going to go. We're going to be linked to every big name on the market. The rumors are going to fly. Phillies fans are going to get excited about landing some impact player, and then Dombrowski is going to swoop in with an offer that's so absurd, so over the top, that even the player's agent is probably shocked. 6 years for a 32-year-old, 7 years for a pitcher with injury history, some absolutely insane commitment that no rational front office would make. And we're going to make it because that's what we do. We panic, we overpay, and we convince ourselves it's going to work out this time, even though it never does. The problem isn't just the money, it's the roster fit. Dombrowski doesn't build cohesive rosters. He collects expensive players and hopes they somehow mesh together. There's no strategy, there's no long-term planning. There's just, let's sign the best available player, regardless of whether we actually need them or whether they fit with what we already have. That's how you end up with a bloated, unbalanced roster full of guys making huge money while glaring holes go unfilled because you spend all your resources on splash signings that don't actually address your problems. Let's say it's a starting pitcher, which seems likely given our needs. Dombrowski's going to target someone like Corbin Burnes or Blake Snell, guys who are going to command massive money and long-term deals. Are they good pitchers? Sure. But are they worth the 7-year, $250 million contracts they're going to get? Absolutely not, especially when you factor in age and injury risk. But Dave's going to make that signing anyway because he's incapable of restraint. He's incapable of saying this price is too high or this term is too long. He just goes all in on every big name and deals with the fallout later. Or maybe it's an outfielder. Maybe we're going after someone like Teoscar Hernandez or another corner outfield bat. Same problem. Dombrowski's going to overpay for declining production from a guy in his 30s. We're going to commit multiple years and massive dollars to someone whose best days are behind them. And when that player inevitably declines in year 2 or 3 of the deal, we're going to be stuck. Can't trade them because the contract's unmovable. Can't release them because we're paying them too much. Just stuck watching them take up a roster spot and payroll space while providing diminishing returns. The opportunity cost is what nobody talks about. Every dollar Dave spends on these splash signings is a dollar that doesn't go toward actually building a complete roster. It's money that could address the bullpen, money that could go toward multiple solid players instead of one overpriced star, money that could be used to extend younger players or take on bad contracts and trades to acquire prospects. But instead it all goes to one big signing that makes headlines but doesn't actually make us better in any meaningful way. Here's the tragic part. There are going to be reasonable free agent options available this winter, good players on shorter deals at more manageable prices, guys who could actually help us without crippling our payroll for the next half decade. But Dombrowski won't even look at them. They're not sexy enough. They don't generate buzz. They don't let him play the big shot general manager who lands the whale. So he'll ignore them and go after the big name, and we'll miss out on actually smart signings because we blew our budget on another Dave Dombrowski special that looks terrible before the ink is even dry. The age profile is another massive red flag with whoever we sign. Dombrowski loves signing players on the wrong side of 30. He convinces himself that guys in their mid-30s are going to maintain their production level indefinitely. Spoiler alert, they don't. They decline. They get hurt. They become shadows of their former selves. And we end up paying them massive money to be replacement-level players. But Dave keeps making the same mistake because he's fundamentally incapable of learning from past failures. Think about the contracts Dombrowski handed out in Detroit. Prince Fielder, Jordan Zimmermann, Justin Upton. All of them looked questionable at the time and became disasters shortly after. The Tigers are still recovering from the financial carnage Dave left behind. And now he's doing the exact same thing in Philadelphia, just with different names. The approach hasn't changed. The results aren't going to change. We're going to hand out a catastrophic contract to someone this winter, and in 2 years we're all going to be talking about what a disaster it is while Dave's already moved on to the next big signing. The lack of financial flexibility is going to kill us. We're already maxed out on payroll. We're already in luxury tax territory. We already have multiple bad contracts we can't move. And instead of being cautious, instead of making smart marginal moves, we're about to compound the problem by adding another massive long-term deal. At some point, you run out of money. At some point, you can't keep adding salary. But Dombrowski operates like we have unlimited resources, and Middleton enables him because he's desperate for a championship. It's a toxic combination that's going to leave this franchise in ruins. The worst part is that this signing, whatever it is, probably won't even address our biggest needs. We need bullpen help desperately. Are we going to sign 3 quality relievers? No. We're going to sign 1 big-name starter and bargain hunt for the bullpen. We need defensive improvements in the outfield. Are we going to prioritize that? No. We're going to sign whoever has the biggest bat, regardless of their glove. We need organizational depth. Are we going to focus on that? No. We're going to trade away more prospects to supplement the big free agent signing. It's the same failed approach over and over. I can already see the press conference. Dombrowski standing there, grinning, talking about how excited he is to add this impact player. Middleton in the background, thrilled to have made another splash. The player saying all the right things about wanting to bring a championship to Philadelphia. And the media will eat it up. They'll praise Dave for being aggressive. They'll applaud Middleton for spending. Nobody will point out that the contract is terrible or that the player's likely to decline or that we're mortgaging our future yet again for a marginal improvement in the present. And then we'll run it back next season with essentially the same roster, just older and more expensive with even less flexibility than we had before. We'll make the playoffs, maybe lose early, and everyone will wonder what went wrong. The answer will be obvious to anyone paying attention. We keep making the same mistakes with free agent signings, prioritizing name recognition over actual value, handing out contracts that no rational organization would give out, and hoping that somehow this time will be different. It won't be different. It's never different with Dave Dombrowski. The pattern is set. The outcome is predetermined. We're about to watch another disaster unfold in real time, and the saddest part is that we're all powerless to stop it because this is just what the Phillies do now.